This is your morning in 8 minutes, and don't forget to pack that extra water before you head out the door.
Yeah, let's bring in First Alert Chief Meteorologist Heather Haley with a look at the steamy feels like First Alert forecast. Heather.
Yeah, maybe get in the water and sip on that water. It's another one of those days. Not as hot as it's been the past couple of days, but we can still push that threshold to triple digits in parts of our area. I do think by lunch, this is when I'm going to be kind of moseying into the water, because then you've got these low to mid 90s already for feels like temperatures in the shade. Full sun feels hotter. And in the shade, it feels like we get into those triple digits. In the southern to central valley, it'll feel like 100 Athens, 101 Knoxville to Maryville, 101 Kingston. Watts Bar, sounds great. 94 your feels like today, Crossville and Oneida. Heat indices in the shade feels like 99 in La Follette and 97 in Barberville. First Alert feels like forecast where you live today, 97 in Mohawk and 95 Rogersville. So absolutely stay hydrated. Check on the elderly and those pets.
Definitely is not cool. Heather, appreciate it. Well, the heat isn't going anywhere just yet, as Heather just outlined, but there is a little bit of good news from the Knoxville Utilities Board.
Yeah, they say the power supply now back to normal, and they're lifting their request for you to use less energy. KUB says TVA's regional power grid is back to normal operations following an increase in demand at the start of this heat wave. They say if you can use less energy, it will help them out until that cooler weather moves in. And KUB's president says that they appreciate the efforts of folks who have helped alleviate the situation through voluntary conservation measures. Now, we first told you about this yesterday. More than 150 workers in Campbell County will have to find a new job by the fall.
Yeah, DeRoyal Industries announcing that they're closing their manufacturing facility in La Follette. Most employees will be let go by the end of September. DeRoyal makes parts used in hospitals. In a statement, the company says their work right now was not sustainable in the current medical device supply chain market. In a letter, DeRoyal Industries telling employees they'll be holding a job fair in September to help those impacted. Still, folks we spoke with say they're worried they may have to leave Campbell County to find work. Well, the man sentenced to death in the Christian Newsom murders is appealing his case to get a lesser sentence.
LaMarcus Davidson is convicted of brutally murdering Christopher Newsom and Shannon Christian. He's now trying to avoid the death penalty. We were in the courtroom as the state and defense went back and forth for about an hour yesterday. The judge decided he's going to take up to 60 days to decide if LaMarcus Davidson's sentence will be reduced. 4 others were also convicted in the case. Most are serving life sentences. One person got 35 years. Well, this morning, the White House is preparing for a meeting with Iran in the coming days.
Yeah, this after President Trump said he believes their war with Israel is finished following last weekend's strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities. At the NATO summit in the Netherlands, the president doubled down on his claims that U.S. strikes obliterated Iran's main nuclear site. Despite assessments from an initial report, Pentagon officials are expected to give a news conference today on the strikes, which the president says, quote, will prove both interesting and irrefutable. However, there are reports the administration could limit how much classified information they receive. A briefing for House members is set for tomorrow.
Tennessee's Department of Education says it will not be tracking to see if school voucher applicants were already enrolled in private school.
The new school voucher program or Education Freedom Scholarships passed during a special session in January. They would give 20,000 students who are eligible just under $7,300 to use towards tuition and fees. Lawmakers say the vouchers would provide families more educational opportunities. Some lawmakers, though, do have concerns, including that students who are already in private school would enroll in the voucher program to get the money. Half of the scholarships will go to students based on their family's income. For a family of 4, the cutoff threshold, just more than $173,000 a year. The other half are available to any student in the state. So far, there have been nearly 40,000 applications submitted. Meanwhile, another record year for tourism in Tennessee.
That's right. The State Department of Tourist Development out with their annual report. It says Tennessee's tourism industry generated $31.7 billion in direct visitor spending, and nearly 150 million people visited our state. And all those people coming here to visit actually saves you money. The state says tourism generates $3.3 billion in state and local tax revenue, saving each Tennessee household over $1,100 a year on average. And this morning, the Cape Kitchen food pantry operated by the Knoxville Academy of Medicine Foundation. They need your help.
They're facing critically low food supplies, and they're asking for you to donate non-perishable food items. So here's a look at a little bit of what they need. Beef and chicken, peanut butter and jelly, pasta and rice, canned or fresh fruits and vegetables, shelf-stable and fresh milk, and breakfast items. That means oatmeal, granola bars, and or cereal. You can drop off the donations at the pantry or at several locations across the city. We have the full list of what they need and how you can help in the Ask CNON section of your WVLT News app. Olivia, what's traffic looking like?
Yeah, let's take a quick look at the roads. Taking a live look first at Merchant Drive. This is one of those morning commute hotspots. I-75 looking good right now. North and southbound lanes not seeing any issues. 640, same story there. We're taking a look at Western Avenue. East and westbound lanes up to speed, not many cars in that area. 40 at Hall of Fame Drive, closer to downtown. Traffic is still moving there, so this is great news if you have somewhere you need to be early on this Friday Eve. You see that green, see that movement, that means that we are up to speed further out so you can see where you're driving in from. Overall, not seeing any issues.
And overall, it is a steamy morning. Tropical views, gorgeous view right now across downtown Knoxville. You can see some of the clouds and fog moving around this morning. That sun moving up and temperatures moving up too. It's 76 in Knoxville, 72 Jamestown. We've had some variation in who's under those clouds. We're all humid. 69 Middlesboro. We also have some patches of fog. We also have a lone thunderstorm. National Weather Service just issued a flood advisory with this. I was pointing out we're very isolated. Even 2 inches of rain has fallen over Athens. This popped up and it's basically spreading out. So it's reaching up into Roane County, Loudoun County. If it woke you up early, nothing severe, but boy, is that some heavy rain and frequent lightning with that pop-up storm. So actually the humidity to blame there too. It's the moisture those clouds need to turn over into a downpour to a thunderstorm. So where it rains, it pours, but 20% of our area gets that well-watered lawn or garden. 93 your high today, again feeling hotter, feeling like those triple digits in parts of our area. So monitoring that heat advisory next couple of days, still feeling hotter, still spotty storms, but they're starting to increase a bit in hours that we're seeing those pop up Saturday, in coverage Sunday to Monday as the next front gets closer. So it'll break the heat wave once we get out of the 90s. It'll still be steamy next week, but at least it'll be more seasonable with those 80s middle of next week. So I'll be tracking out those storms and of course that feels like forecast where you live coming up at 7 on the CW.
All right, Heather, thank you. And this morning we are talking with Mayor India Kincannon as her proposed sales tax increase heads to the November ballot. That's over on the CW Knoxville. Make sure that you join us there. But thanks for joining us this morning on WVLT. Y'all have a great day. Stay safe.